You didn't come here by accident. Maybe a part of you is quietly searching for peace. If that's true, please subscribe to Buddha Pray and stay until the end of this story, because every day, this place holds stories crafted just for your soul. Have you ever felt like you were behind? Like the world was moving faster than you could keep up? Your friends building careers, your siblings starting families, people buying homes, chasing dreams, while you're still figuring out which direction to take, and in the quiet, you whisper to yourself, maybe I messed up, maybe I'm too late, but what if you're not behind at all? What if you're exactly where you're meant to be? Maybe your path was never meant to look like theirs. Maybe your timing is sacred, not late. Maybe your story takes longer to bloom because your soul is growing roots, deep ones. So stop comparing your pace to someone else's race. You are not behind, you are not broken, you are not lost. You are on your path, step by step, breath by breath, just as you are meant to be. His name was Samuel Reed, but around town, they just called him Old Sam. He was 68 years old, lived alone, in a wooden shack at the edge of Maple Hill. No wife, no kids, no car, just a quiet life and an old bicycle repair shop. Every morning at sunrise, he'd open his dusty doors, set out his rusty tools, and wait. He never rushed, never advertised, never cared for fame or money. People said he was slow. They joked. Old Sam's life must have hit pause. Still fixing bikes in 2024? He'd just smile and say softly, not all journeys need engines. He was the only one in town who still knew how to fix chain gears by hand. Kids loved him, parents ignored him, and the world moved on. Until one day, a young boy named Alex rushed past his shop, late for school. His bike broke in half. He crashed and fractured his wrist. Everyone panicked, except Sam. He lifted the boy gently, wrapped his arm in an old shirt, carried him 2 miles to the clinic, then walked back, fixed the bike overnight, and the next morning rode it to the boy's house. No one asked him to, no one paid him. He just smiled and said, the chain was stuck, just needed patience. Years passed. That boy, Alex, grew up to be a surgeon, a gifted one, and the day he got his medical license, he returned to Maple Hill. He walked straight to that old bike shop, but the door was locked, dusty, still, silent. Old Sam had passed away the night before. Alex knelt down, tears falling. He whispered, if it weren't for you, I'd be nowhere. Inside the shop, on the wall, he found a small torn piece of paper, a lottery ticket, old, expired. On the back, in faded ink, Sam had written, you don't need to win the lottery to be lucky. Every day I get to live kindly. I already feel rich. In the corner, a note was pinned beneath a nail. I may have lived slower than most, but I never lost my way because I followed something deeper than a clock. This was old Sam, a man who had nothing, but gave everything, not with noise, not with pride, but with truth. What made Mr. Samuel Reed so different was not what he had, but how he lived. He didn't follow the world's clock. He didn't compare. He didn't race. He simply showed up every day with presence and compassion. That's not slowness. That is wisdom. The Buddha once said, better than 100 years lived in ignorance and without reflection is one single day lived with mindfulness. Dhammapada, verse 111. Most people count their lives in numbers, how much money they have, how many followers, how fast they succeed. But in Dhamma, We count differently. We count in moments of kindness, in breaths of clarity, in steps taken with awareness. Mr. Reed lived slowly but purely. He didn't wait for recognition. He didn't collect praise. He just kept fixing what was broken, on bikes, in people, in life. Another verse from the Dhammapada says, "Though one should live 100 years, idle and indolent, better is a single day of effort in one who walks the path." Dhammapada verse 112. What path? The path of the Eightfold Way: right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. Old Sam walked that path without ever naming it, without preaching it. He simply became it. And that is what true Dhamma looks like. So let me ask you, have you ever felt like you were late in life, falling behind, like everyone was ahead and you were stuck? But maybe, just maybe, you are not behind. You are just growing roots, deep ones, invisible ones, sacred ones. Just like a seed needs time in the dark before it rises toward the sun. Just like bamboo grows underground for years before it shoots into the sky in weeks. The Buddha taught, all that we are is the result of what we have thought. It is founded on our thoughts. It is made up of our thoughts. Dhammapada, verse 1. Your thoughts shape your path, not someone else's timeline, not society's calendar, but your inner clarity. So don't rush, don't panic, don't think you're failing just because you're not fast. Instead, ask, am I walking with presence, with truth, with peace? Because that is what it means to be on your path. Maybe, right now, you're looking at your life and thinking, I'm so far behind. You scroll, you compare, you see people getting married, starting businesses, buying homes, achieving dreams, and you ask yourself, what's wrong with me? But let me whisper something straight to your heart. Nothing is wrong with you. You are not late. You are not failing. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are simply on your path, and your path is sacred. Maybe your timeline doesn't look like theirs. Maybe your milestones come slower. Maybe you bloom after the storm. Do you know how long it takes a lotus to rise from the mud? Do you know how deep bamboo must root before it grows? Let go of rushing. Let go of shame. Let go of timelines that were never yours to begin with. Instead, ask yourself, am I living with compassion? Am I choosing kindness even when it's hard? Am I growing even if no one sees it? If the answer is yes, then you are not behind. You are walking in alignment with your soul. And now, I ask you to pause, not just to listen, but to reflect. Drop a comment below. What's one thing you're doing right now that no one claps for, but you know, deep down is right? Be honest. Your story may heal someone else's storm, and let's talk openly. Discussion question 1. Do you think our society praises success too early and forgets to honor those who bloom later? Are we addicted to speed or afraid of depth? Discussion question 2. Which is more powerful, being the first to succeed or being the one who never gave up? Discussion question 3. Would you rather live a fast life that ends empty or a slow life that ends in peace? Let's hear your truth. Let's build a space where every pace is honored. And if this story touched you, share it. You never know who's quietly suffering, thinking they're behind, when in truth, they're just blooming slowly. Subscribe to Buddha Pray. Every story here is a light for your path, a mirror for your soul. Because you, my friend, you are not late, you are not less, you are not lost. You are walking at the perfect speed of your own awakening, step by step, breath by breath, and one day you'll look back and whisper to yourself, I was never behind. I was just becoming.